Hi, this is Jackie Kelleher from Nurturing the Doula, and I thought today we would talk a little bit about family dynamics because when you're supporting a family in their home, one of the things that you have to navigate is the fact that there may be not just one person who you're supporting or one parent and a baby, but actually there could be the dynamics of a couple and a baby and older children. There could be grandparents, there could be extended family arriving, and so there can be a lot to navigate there. And personally, I have found that to be an area of intense growth for myself potential, and also, a lot of challenge. And I know that the many doulas I've mentored over the years, that's one of the areas they talk about a lot is kind of navigating the waters of not offending, learning a family, and how to fit in within the existing culture of that family. So, a couple things I like to get under the way right away. One thing is that the dynamics of that family are not the dynamics of your family. You may have some sort of association with this family. You may think that because you are of the same faith or ethnicity or political affiliation, or I can't think of any other number of things, that you actually have a kinship with these people, and that they're going to be familiar to you, and they shouldn't be, okay? Because no family is your family, and your family is never going to be the same as the families that you meet. So what am I talking about? I'm talking about things like how do they welcome babies in their family? I'm talking about how do they express love? How do they express frustration? How do they express support? How do they express anger? And what is acceptable in terms of ways of communication? So, in your family, it may be acceptable to yell. In another family, it may not be. In your family, um, language like curse words might never be acceptable. In another family, it might be. In your family, people perhaps would never lay a hand on a child, and in your clients' families, that might not be the case. They might be slapping their hands when they reach for things that are inappropriate, say in a toddler. And so there's a lot you're going to have to put together. There's a lot you're going to have to take in and kind of massage into what you already know, and then find the best possible way to bring that information back out. Sometimes the dynamics are distressful to you, sort of like I mentioned, if there's really different approaches to communication, like yelling versus not yelling, or using insulting language, or just a very different approach, say, toward child rearing, or partners. Maybe you feel like that the partnership that exists, if there is a partner, is abusive or potentially abusive, and where do you place yourself in that, and how do you navigate it? One thing that I tell myself always, and that I would ask you to consider remaining mindful of, is that these dynamics were in place long before you got here, and they're going to be here long after you leave. The likelihood of your doing or saying just the right thing that is going to change everything is very low. So, what you're trying to do is plant seeds, and these seeds are potentially going to take root and grow, and that crop is going to be sown way after you're gone. It might be 6 months later, it might be 6 years later, it might be decades later, and they may never actually do anything with the little seeds that you plant, all of your seeds, because that's unlikely, right? They're gonna kind of take what they need and leave the things that they don't feel that they need, or the things that they feel that they're not ready for. They might just not hear them at all. So remain mindful that, like I said, the dynamics were there long before you arrived. They're going to be there long after you leave. You're not going to, in your short tenure with the family, even if you spend a lot of hours with them, you're not going to be able to reprogram their childhoods, everything, the way that they've worked together, the dynamics that they've worked out, the contract that they've kind of, the invisible contract that they have between them and their parents. All you can do is model behavior. You can certainly express how you expect to be treated, and you should feel safe to do that. You should be able to say to people, if someone speaks to you in a way that is not invited by you, you should feel comfortable saying, oh, I'm not comfortable having you raise your voice to me, for instance. Do I think that's going to happen? No, I think it's very unlikely, but it's not impossible. And you should tell people, how you expect to be treated by them, especially if you feel like that's not being met and it's going down a road that needs to change. Um, and then outside of that, unless you feel like there's some kind of danger going on to yourself, in which case you should leave, to others, in which case it should be reported if it relates to the children. You just kind of do what you can with what you have. Okay, so feel comfortable asking questions and letting people know at prenatal visits. There's probably going to be things that come up that are unfamiliar to me, whether it's a religious observance or something cultural, or even just the way your family does things. And I hope you'll understand from the beginning that I'm just going to say that to you. This is unfamiliar to me. Can you please show me how to do it so it'll best fit in with your family? And again, if you see how they interact, kind of try to fit in that way. But don't compromise yourself, right? And don't do anything, again, that makes you feel unsafe. The biggest message here is people were the way they were going to be. They're going to stay that way. It's unlikely to change just because you're there. Do your best. Meet them where they are. Understand that it's not that your way is right and other ways are other than right, right? There's many different ways to do things. You'll probably learn a whole lot, harvest little things that you'll bring back to your own family. I hope this is helpful to you. I'm Jackie Kelleher. This is Nurturing the Family. Nope, it's Nurturing the Doula. Got that wrong.